All right, welcome back to Into Search. I'm your host, Scott Sanders. This is your one-stop shop, speedy reviews, detailed how-tos. Today it's Mr. Fix-It time. So you have a water heater that's going bad. This is an electric one. Obviously, it's plugged into the wall. There's also propane ones. We'll show you that in the video as well. So either you got a leak on one or you just figured it's too old, time to replace it. It's simple. It's not hard. They charge about $500 to $600 nowadays just to install it. Some places will charge you $3,000 to buy it and haul it off and install a new one. You can do this yourself. You can take these to metal salvage yards as a donation. Don't even have to get paid for it. But sometimes they will pay you for them. But that's besides the point. So step one, water was on. I'm cutting the water off. So normally when the handle points with the flow of the pipe, that means it's on. You'll hear it running. But you want to turn it up to where it's like intersecting the pipe. That lets you know it's off. All right, so then step two, you're going to put a garden hose onto the spigot. You're going to run it out there to the street so it can drain. You can show them that. See how it goes to the left of the truck out to the street? That way the pitch or the decline of your driveway helps it flow out. Then you get a flathead, which has a flat tip on the end. You put it in there and you turn it counterclockwise, lefty-loosey. Not righty-tighty, so turn it to the counterclockwise left. That'll open it up. So then, what you want to do is, the one that has the handle of the shutoff, that's water from the outside. So that's water coming into it. Then the hot one will have water going out. Sometimes they might switch them or they'll have them looped a different way. But you can look on the top of your water heater. Normally there'll be a red ring on the top that lets you know hot. If you don't, you can touch it and feel that it's warm. So after that, there's a vacuum. So the one water that went into the house, it goes to your washer, your dishwasher, all the sinks in your house, which is hot. So you have to go into all your house, kitchen, bathroom sinks, cut on the hot so air can suck in there and it can run back into the tube and shoot out into the street. Once you don't hear any more water going through there or it's trickling out there, you should be able to push it and be real light. Right now it's so heavy because it still is draining. So from the inside, you want to make sure that all the hot ones are open. And also when you go to fill it back up, it'll spit through all those, and you'll see that in a little bit, to where it'll run consistently. As long as it's still spitting, it has air in the line, just keep letting it run until it's just a constant flow. But we'll show you that here in a second. So step three, I've already opened up the sinks in there. We can go show you, but unplug it. Obviously, this is an electric water heater, so you don't have to disconnect it from here unless you're getting a new one. If you are getting a new one, there's just 2 or 3 screws up here at the top. You take this little panel off, and then you can, it's a looping one to where it doesn't matter if it's hot or cold. There's no black or white. Normally you have to connect the black to black, white to white, but this one, you just reconnect it to how it is, take this off and put it on a new one, and you're back in business. So, come into them all, cut the hot open. You don't hear it draining, obviously. That's cold, so the air can suck through there and go back to the water heater. Next bathroom, let's teleport. Okay, so again, cold, hot, keep it open and do it to everyone in your house, kitchen or bathroom. It's also good to open up your shower heads because anywhere the water is, it can actually flow back through the hot and spit itself out. And normally you're like, it might not be that much, but from the pipe that runs from here, maybe across your house to the master bathroom shower, it could be enough to where, like, yeah, you're talking about a gallon of water. So out by the street, you'll get to a point where it starts trickling. That's when you know you can go to the hot water that's at the top of it and open that up. We call it cracking the valve because once you open that up, it'll suck in a lot of air and then it'll drain everything out. All right, so this is what the top looks like. So again, cold's running in, you shut the water off, it goes up and goes in. There's a reservoir that catches the water when it comes back to help release pressure because sometimes it gets too hot. This is the hot coming out of the water heater and going into your house and delivering it to everywhere that you turn it open. So when you open it up, after the street is trickling, you should hear, I don't know if the video will catch it, hear that? That air sucking in? Well, we got radio playing in the background, probably not helping. But then you detach the hot, now air's flowing through there, and we'll go back out there, and you can pretty much see it from here that it is running faster. It's not trickling anymore. See that pouring? So that means it's going to drain. After about 15 minutes, it'll drain completely, and then it'll make it light enough where you can take this whole thing and drop it down. When you're reading the side, you can look to see how old yours is. Once they get about 15 to 25 years, I know that's a big gap, a big span, but around 15 to 25 years, the bottom will start cracking, and that's why they have the drip pan. And the drip pan normally will fill up and it'll go down the PVC and exit your house and drain out there. So if you ever see water in your pan and there's no leak at the top, the bottom's starting to crack. Now, it's a slow crack. Normally, it's not, you don't see them spew, but it's something to check every now and then. But if you see that yours is around 15 years, it's pretty good to swap them out anyway, because they start getting to a point where it just doesn't heat properly. Now, if it comes out here, it'll be spewing. Any of these hoses messes up, it's just going to be spewing all over the place, so this will be obvious to you. So to get more airflow in there, you could take off the cold side. I like to take it off the water heater itself, so that way while it's sitting out here, you can't hit it or mess with it. If you never take these parts off. We're doing this because there's a drywall patch happening back here. There we go. Now she's completely open. You don't need to take the reservoir off, almost none of them, but they will have an over steam flow valve that's here, so you need to pull that one off too. Normally there's never going to be any water in it, especially when it's shut off, but you need to disconnect that. So when you're disconnecting them all, also you want to check inside. See that little rubber gasket? I don't know, you can kind of see that. See how there's metal behind it? This rubber gasket is what crimps, so as you push it down onto the pipe, that pipe ring shoves into that gasket, that rubber gasket, and it really seals the water in there. So when you're going to tighten them or loosen them, you want to check them when they're open, because if this is all rusty and crimped and there's a big old groove in it, doesn't look healthy basically, you want to replace that gasket. And they sell just that gasket, but also you can also buy the whole entire extension hose, the supply line. So that's something to check also while it's open. And then, if this leaks when you do put it on, you don't want to crank it on too tight. If you get too tight, it could bust or break the gasket. But also you can get plumber's tape, which is Teflon tape. You'll see them in the Home Depot or Lowe's. Just ask the people for them. And you can tape this up and make the threads even tighter. So when you screw this on, the threads and the gasket are all trying to make it watertight. But if you get to that point where you need thread tape, most likely you need to get a new supply line. All right, let's take off the overflow drain. Almost everything is going to be righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So you always want to go counterclockwise to take it off, clockwise to put it on. All right, now she's completely open, completely detached. The cold water, the hot water, the overflow, and the plug-in is all detached. So she's starting to get a little lighter. But again, 15 minutes, you'll be able to take her out. Okay, I figured since I'm waiting for it to drain, might as well show you the whole thing. So make sure you unplug it. If it's still plugged in, you don't want to take this off at all. And if you're not a plumber and you're iffy and scared about electric and all that, you don't want to do this all anxiety attack and all upset and trying to figure out and validate why you can or can't do this. Just call a plumber if it really bothers you, or call somebody that's done this before. But it's really on a level of 10, 10 being, okay, it needs to be a pro that's done it for 10 years. Or if it's an amateur for 2 to 5 years, yeah, I would put this on a level of like 3 or 4. It's still easy. It's just a liability of stuff. So there's just 3 screws. You take that one out, you take this one out and this one out, which is over here. I already took it out. You pull it up. See those 2 wire nuts, which is the plastic caps that go on there right there? That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter which one goes on which. There is a black and red coming out. If it really makes you feel good, normally what I'll do is I'll take a Sharpie. This one's connected to red. And then this one, you can get some Sharpie and just mark it a whole bunch of times to make it black. But if you take those caps off, it pulls right off. You do the same thing connecting it to the new water heater. So take this little red cap off, again, counterclockwise. And then you take the wire, pull it off, connect it to the new one. On both of them, put the wire cap back on, make sure it's really tight, so you turn it clockwise until it's really, really tight. And then you put this back on, pop the screws in. Your ground wire goes here, which will be in between them. The 2 big pieces. So your ground wire goes on the green, and they'll even say ground. Green is normally always ground. So you pop that back on, you pop this back on. Don't plug it back in until it's full of water. For some reason, all the manuals will tell you, doesn't matter if it's electric or if it's propane. If it's gas, it says wait till it's completely full and it's shooting and all the air's out of the sinks and faucets and shower heads. That's when you plug it back in. Again, though, do this at your own risk, because this is the part that you might mess up a little bit. You're not trying to start a fire, or you're not trying to mess up. But remember that this one is not going to be swapped out. This one's coming off, and it's going right back on. So because of that, I don't need to detach this. It can stay where it's at. And that goes for you too. So if you're just taking yours off so you can do a drywall patch of paint behind it, you can skip the step of trying to reattach this to another one, another unit. Just leave it as it is. Don't do any of this. Remember to do this at your own risk. This is not financial advice. And always, as a disclaimer, we have to say this isn't financial advice, but also this isn't plumbing advice. I am a home improvement guy, done it for USAA, State Farm, Liberty Mutual for years. Done it for about 13 years, over 1,400 houses. We crush it. But yeah, if you're new to this and you haven't done this before, yeah, you can do it. It's possible. It's easy, but you have to follow the steps. Make sure you're double checking your work. Have somebody that's done this before a few times supervise or help you in any way, because you are doing this at your own risk. I'm just doing this to help you know the steps so you could do it properly. But if you have any doubt in your mind, or you're scared about it, or you think it's not going to come out properly, you just need somebody to check it. Call a real licensed plumber or something to come out here and just inspect it for you. Other than that, yeah, keep up the good work, because I'm just trying to help people. So don't blame me if your husband miswired it or didn't check the gasket and it leaks again in the future. All right, so also it's always good to make sure debris, if you're putting the same one back up, the new ones will come with caps. You want to put something over it to stop debris from getting inside there. So should have did that earlier. For everybody, this is Super Mike. Welcome to the channel. I probably just screamed into this camera and people are going to be like, I'm out of here. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share this video to help somebody else. Subscribies. Also, when you're removing from here, they're not crazy heavy when they're empty, but it's also recommended that you don't throw your back out or break a finger. Get some help and have somebody help you. You want to just tilt it forward. Someone grabs the top part, someone bear hugs the bottom part and just pick it up and set it on the ground. Now remember, it's strong on the bottom, but put something down there, because if it sits on a rock, it could crack the bottom or something like that. Just trying to think, because luck favors their prepared. So the more you prepare, the luckier you're going to be. And I'm glad, because my nephew is a beast and he picked the whole thing up and tried to throw it through the ceiling. Yeah, Incredible Hulk time. You will not like him when he's mad. Now that it's out, you pretty much won't need the drain hose anymore. So turn it clockwise to the right. Go ahead and take it back off. The water hose can go back outside. All right, another great little tip while it's out. Say that your water heater, someone picked up the wrong one, got a gas one instead of an electric, or maybe there's another problem with the cold water, so they need to reconnect it. Say your dishwasher is connected to the hot supply line and they can't run the dishwasher. So say there's any reason you can't connect it that day and they need to get the water back. You can take the hot supply line off, take the cold and connect it to the hot pipe. Now it's not going to be hot, but it's called looping, to where you can just take the water, loop it straight into the hot, and that way you can cut your dishwasher back on, or whatever else is connected to those lines, so you can kind of go back to normal. Okay, so now that you've got it back up and you're going to install, take your tape off. Obviously you don't want to be blocking anything. So, coal goes back on. Now you want to wiggle it around until you feel it seating real good. Get it started with your hand and go as far as you can, until you feel a pretty good resistance. Hot water. And that's why I also like taking it off at the water heater, not from here, because then it just easily goes back on. You can see exactly where it sits. A lot of times you can take pictures of the things that you're taking off, so you can resort back to your picture and see that if you missed a step or how they were connected, if there was something special on there. Because you can see right here, they did have some thread tape on this coupler connecting to that. Now there's also scutchings that can go on here to cover the holes in the wall, so you can buy those. All right, so once you get it where your hands can't really tighten it too more, remember there's a rubber gasket in there. So you're trying to go, you can go with these so tight, you just tear straight through that gasket. So most plumbers will tell you go until you reach some good resistance, and then do a quarter turn to a half a turn. So a quarter turn, you're going to pick one of these little nipples sticking out, and you're just going to turn a little bit more. You're not trying to go to where you're shaking. If you're trying too hard, you're going to mess it up. Johnny 5, disassemble, reassemble. So twist it until I feel some good resistance, which is right about now. And then we'll quarter turn it more. That'll really get a good pinch on it. And after you cut the water back on to try to make everything work again, you really want to take anything. Even though I didn't touch this, you want to keep testing it, make sure it's dry. Good thing is get a paper towel in your hand, just dab around them. You'll feel if water's dripping out. And then we'll cut the water on, this will fill up. And remember, we'll go to all the outlets, all the sinks and faucets and shower heads, and we'll cut them all back on, or leave them open until they quit spitting. All right, we'll jump to that part. Make sure down here, You make sure you had that shut off. Obviously, it's not spitting out water from when we detach the water hose, but you can look inside it and see that it's actually sealed. So let's go cut the water back on. So you grab it here, you cut it on. Remember, you're not plugged in yet. You have to wait on any water heater until it's completely full again. So now this is a good time to have a friend or a family member go to all the sinks, listen to them spit and sputter. We'll show you what that looks like, and they can just yell at you, be like, okay, kitchen's good, okay, master bathroom's good. But this is when you feel it. Feel for dryness. You shouldn't have any condensation at all, any kind of water dripping on you. Water will find that crack and hole and it'll do it immediately. So you don't have to worry about it waiting for a while. When it fills up, if something's wrong, it'll be dripping immediately. So you can always do a water test by keep coming back and checking it. All right, so it takes a minute to fill this thing up. So let's go ahead and go to the faucets to show you what it looks like when it's spitting and sputting. Sputter. Did I stutter when I sputtered? That's terrible. Let's just edit that out. All right. Okay, you can see this is one of the bathrooms we showed earlier. The hot's still on. That way air can flow through it. So the water going into the tank, the air can push through this, and you'll see it sputtering in a minute. This is good. You want to hear the air coming out of it. Otherwise, it just won't fill up as much. So let's jump to the kitchen. Okay, so in the kitchen, you can see it's already trickling. Because that's cold. There's hot. So keep it on hot so it's flowing through. That's why I was making a weird sound out there in the water heater. Homeowner shut it off for a second. And let's check another bathroom. Okay, so his or her sink, you can see it. One's spitting, so that means it's starting to get there. Both of them are spitting now. This is the farthest from the water heater in the garage. So we should see the first one I showed you fill up first, then the kitchen, then this one. And don't worry about flushing toilets or nothing, they're all on cold water. Stop spitting and sputtering. So you can cut that off. Let's go to the kitchen. Stop spitting and sputtering. So again, now you can shut that one off. And again, you want to work your way from the water heater to the farthest parts. So start off with the closest parts, then work to the farthest. And here's the his or her sinks, farthest away. And sometimes they piggyback, which just means that the kitchen water line can also be connected to these. Sometimes people piggyback them and they just send them off and reroute them from the same junction point. So that's why you want to start close to the water heater and work your way farther, but not all of them. So that lets me know it's all filled. Now that means the water heater should be full. Now we can go plug it in. Okay, so every spigot in the house, every faucet is running good, the shower heads and all that from the kitchen. So this again, you want to check it again. It's dry, it's dry, it's dry. Because it's full in there, that means it's full here. So the pressure's going, it would leak somewhere. You would feel a drip at some point. So now that it's full, you get to plug it back in. Dun, 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 dun. All right, so that is it. Thanks for stopping by Into Search again. I'm your host, Scott Sanders, Mr. Fix It Today. Hopefully I help somebody out. Share this video with someone that might need some help, because sometimes I've heard people getting $3,000 to put a new one in, and that's just retarded. You can do it yourself. This is like a level 4 on hardness. Hear that? I know. You're welcome. She's saying bye. And remember, people that try to bring you down are already below you. That's just kind of what they do. And it's a lonely road on the path to improving yourself. But once you become better, or even great people always attract a crowd. Be blessed.